Today we're diving deep into Bolt, comparing the official Bolt.new site with the open source local installation to help you choose the best option for your needs. If you're like many developers and founders I've worked with, you might be wondering whether to use Bolt.new or set up your own local instance, or maybe both. Maybe you've tried the official site but want more control over your LLM choices. Or perhaps you're concerned about API costs. Today we'll clear up all of these questions. In this comprehensive guide, I'll show you the complete installation process for local Bolt, unique features in both versions you need to know about, a practical comparison building a Git Simulator app that helps visualize version control, and we'll do this at a comfortable pace so you can make an informed decision about which version you need. I have included detailed timestamps below so you can jump to specific sections. However, I recommend watching the full comparison to understand the complete picture. What is Bolt? Let me explain what Bolt.new actually is. It's a groundbreaking AI-powered development environment that integrates cutting-edge AI models with StackBlitz web containers technology. This means you can run full Node.js servers, install npm packages, and even deploy to production, all directly in your browser. What makes it special is how it gives AI models complete control over the entire development environment, from file system operations to package management. StackBlitz, the owner of Bolt, has released an older version as open source. That's what we can see here right now in this GitHub repository. However, it's been over a month since it was last updated. And we can see the exact date here. The last commit for the main branch happens on October 17, 2024. But from that time until today, the official Bolt site includes many features not present in the open source code. Several developers have used this official open source code from Bolt to fork their own copy and add their own enhancements. For this tutorial, we'll be using Cole Medin's fork called AutoDev. So as you can see right now. So as I said in this video, I will show you how to install this local Bolt in your own local machine. But before we dive into the installation, let's make sure you have the following requirements. You need to have Git installed in your machine. I assume you're using Windows, but the installation process should be similar. You can head over to desktop.github.com. I prefer using GitHub Desktop because it makes the whole Git process much more visual and intuitive, especially if you're new to version control. GitHub Desktop automatically installs Git and Git Bash as part of its installation process on Windows and other operating systems. You'll get both a graphical interface through GitHub Desktop and command line access through Git Bash in a single installation. As you can see here, I have it already installed in my machine. You also need to install Node.js. We will use Node.js, particularly the npm tool, for package management. And optionally, you can also install Docker Desktop. Docker Desktop includes Docker Compose as part of its installation package. When you install Docker Desktop, you'll get both Docker Engine and Docker Compose tools, making it a convenient all-in-one solution for Docker or container management. If you have installed all of these requirements, then we're good to go. But you also need to have your API keys ready. We'll be using Claude 3.5 Sonnet today. So if you don't have an Anthropic account, you can sign up for it and add some credits and then create your own API key. Now let's proceed with the local Bolt installation. We will follow the installation instructions as outlined in this AutoDev repository README. We can scroll down here and we can see the needed command. As mentioned, you need your Anthropic API key, particularly in this tutorial, but AutoDev or local Bolt supports many other LLMs. So now let's proceed with the setup. Since we already installed Git Desktop and Node.js, we can skip those parts. And now let's go to the cloning. So it says here to clone the repository. We can use the terminal window to do that, but I would like to use visual tools as much as possible. So what we will do is to copy the HTTPS URL of this repository. So go to code, local, HTTPS, and then copy. And then go to your GitHub desktop. Click File, Clone Repository. Make sure you're on the URL tab and then paste in the repository URL that you have copied. And then click Clone. Make sure you remember the local path specified here. We are presented with this question because what we have copied is a fork of the official Bolt.new site. So it says here that you have changes on this branch, but I didn't actually make any changes yet. I will use for my own purposes and click continue. Next, click on show in Explorer. And here, as specified in the README, we need to create a new file by copying the .env .example file and then just rename the new file that was created. I have to rename this as per the instruction as .env.local. Yes, and then I will open it with Notepad or any text editor you have. And it might seem overwhelming here, but you can ignore everything except for the entropy key. So you can simply search for it. So this is the only key that we need to provide for this demonstration. So we need to provide the Anthropic API key here and click Save. Now close the File Explorer and return to GitHub Desktop. Select Repository and open in Command Prompt. Now we will have to decide whether to use npm or Docker in our local installation of Bolt. You can see more details here. For now, I will use the Docker version. Since I don't need to change anything in the local Bolt installation right now, I will choose this build, the production build. I will copy the command, go back to Command Prompt, paste it in, and then press Enter. So it looks like I'm having an issue here. Says Docker is not recognized as an internal program. So if you have this issue, make sure you have Docker installed. I know that I have Docker installed in my machine. So what I will do is I will switch to Git Bash. Now I need to go to that particular folder. So D, GitHub, and I will cd to Bolt.new NELLM. And then I will paste in the command that I have copied earlier and then press Enter. I can also use npm in the installation, but I feel it's better for me to use Docker in this case because I have a lot of projects installed locally and I don't want them to interfere with each other. That's the beauty of having a Dockerized environment. It's similar to having an internal operating system within your computer, within your operating system. So that's what Docker is for. It's like an isolated sandbox for this local Bolt installation. And it's isolated from other interference. So the Docker installation will be more contained. So now we can see here that it's installing the package, the dependencies. It's exporting to image. Image means a Docker image and several Docker related terms there. Now we have successfully built the Docker image. The next step is to run this image. To do that, I will copy the next command here, which is this. Since I have selected the production build, I need to use the production environment command here. I will copy it, go back to my terminal, and I will paste it in. I will clear this first, and then I will paste it in, and then press Enter. I have an issue here. It says bindings.sh not found. So I will try to use the latest or modern way of creating this by using the Docker space compose rather than the Docker-compose. Let us see if this will work. It's still the same. So it says here bindings, no show interactive dev session. Okay, so let me use the development build instead. So this is one of the issues when working with local installation. This kind of trouble is very common. So I have used the development build instead, and then I will use this command. Looks like we're getting somewhere here. So if you encountered any issues while installing the local Bolt installation, you can always visit the repository and report any issues by using this tab. Of course, you need to check first if those issues you're encountering has already been reported to prevent double reporting of issues. Now, looks like the build has succeeded, and now we can access the local Bolt installation in this URL here. So I can press down the control key in my keyboard and click on this to open it here in my browser. Alright, nice. Now I will set up the Bolt.new official in the left side and then the local installation of Bolt on the right side. Alright, so now we have the official Bolt on the left side and the local installation on the right side. Both versions share some powerful core features that make them stand out from traditional coding assistants. So you can see here that both versions provide an input box for the initial prompt. To showcase these tools effectively, we'll create an educational project, a Git Simulator that visualizes version control concepts. This will serve both as a demonstration and a learning tool. So we will use this initial prompt. I will paste it in here as well as here. But you can see here that the LLM for Anthropic is not selected. If that's the case, you can click on Reload. And then you will see Claude 3.5 Sonnet New here. So I will paste in the same prompt. Now let's test. So it says here prompt enhanced. So possibly because this is already enhanced. So what I will do is I will simply remove some of the prompt here. Let me just refresh. So now we have similar prompt on both versions. But to showcase to you the common feature that they have, I will click on Enhance Prompt and Enhance Prompt here as well. So it looks like the Enhance Prompt function in the local installation of Bolt is not working. Let me give it another chance. So it's not working. So we will use this Enhance Prompt. We will copy this and paste it in here in the local Bolt installation. Now let's see how they will do in generating this new project. Looks like we have an issue here. Let me create a new chat here in the local Bolt installation. Let me try the original prompt first. Let me enhance. So it's not working. Let me refresh. And then I will paste in the enhanced prompt. And then use it. But there's an error processing your request. While at the left side, you can see that the official Bolt is doing its work already. And it says here that X API key header is required. So it looks like there's some issue with my API key. So let me quickly check on it. And let's wait for the preview to appear. And looks like the official Bolt version here has some issue. Let me go back to local installation first. I will fix the issue with it so it can catch up. There's still some issue. Let me close this, stop it, and then build it again. And then let me run it again. I have re-entered my API key and I have used .env instead of .env local. So let me go back here create a new chat. Hopefully this time it will work. There you go. So the problem is, instead of using .env local, I have used .env. So that's the solution I did. So now let's see how it's doing. Let me maximize this. And while it's generating its code, let's go back to the official Bolt.new. And then I will try to fix the problem here. So both the official Bolt and the local Bolt is now generating the code. I will not speed up this generation of code to show you how it works in real time. Looks like the local Bolt installation is done, but there's an issue here. Command not found, vite. And here there's still some problem. So what I will do is I will try to install vite manually. npm install vite. Okay, so it added several packages, and then let me run the npm run dev manually. Alright, so it works. As a developer, I know what to do somehow because I have encountered similar issues before. And we can see here that even though it started late, the local Bolt installation somehow was able to generate a working prototype here. And we can see here there's a commit message, new branch, checkout main, merge main. Let me see. So this is an initial commit. Let me check if this works. There's the main branch there. I cannot zoom in, sorry. But let me create a new branch, for example, dev branch. So there's a new branch there. And let me check out the dev branch. So it says here that I am now on the dev branch. So let me simulate a new commit. For example, new features. All right. And then merge dev. So there's some issue. Anyway, it works until that point. So that's a good points for local installation of Bolt. However, the official Bolt still is struggling fixing the issues after how many attempts that we have made already. So the initial one has some issue. I have clicked fix, and here there's an issue again. I have clicked it again, try to fix problems, and finally we now have this latest issue. Okay, so let me try to fix it again. It's unfortunate that we encountered that error, but I viewed it as an educational opportunity. I was hoping to encounter any issues with the code generation with the local Bolt installation here to simulate that same functionality, but it didn't happen. So anyway, let us. It's kind of annoying. I don't want to click on it. Oh, no. I simply want to refresh. I don't want to click you. Anyway, let's. Will this work? No. Let me maximize it and click it this way. So it has some annoying UI there. Maybe it's not isolated to local Bolt installation. But now we can see here the official Bolt finally managed to fix the issue. And we can see here the simulation. So both, let me just walk you through quickly with the common tools or features available with them. Because of my screen size here, I will simply maximize the official Bolt first. So So you can see the layout here. On the left, we can see the chat history, the chat panel. On the right, you can see two tabs, the code, which includes simplified file explorer and a simple code editor with syntax highlighting. And we also have a live preview of the app in the browser here. It's like a mini browser within a browser. So this also is available in local Bolt installation. It has similar layout here. We can see that the main difference is we can select other LLMs here as well as some models under that main LLM provider. And we can see that it also has code, preview, and terminal. We also have the terminal here in the official Bolt version. And we have here the ability to download the code from Bolt official version. And we also have that same functionality here in the local installation. Alright, so before moving on to the unique features of each version, I have laid out to you the common or shared capabilities. Now let's talk about exclusive features. So we can see here in the official Bolt version, if you take a look at the file explorer, it seems like it's the same as the local installation of Bolt here. But actually, it has a lot of features not available in the local Bolt installation. For example, if I right-click on any files here, there's a dedicated context menu for commands available for the file explorer under this code tab. We have new file, new folder, target file, lock file, and other basic commands available for file management. Whereas in local Bolt installation, if I right-click on a file, I can only see the default context menu from the browser. We don't have the dedicated context menu available here in the official Bolt installation. And let's take a look at these two special options here. If we click on target file, that means we can see here that the AI changes is limited to one file. So that's the command file here, command history file. We can add more files to the target files list. So now the changes is limited to those two files. That means if we ask some updates here, Bolt will only target or update those two files. We can remove them from the target list by clicking on this icon. But what about if we don't want a file to be changed? For example, we don't want this to be changed. We can right-click on it and click on lock file. If we do that, that particular file will be added to the lock file list. And we can also add more if we want. Let's say the package lock.json, for example. So we now have two files added to the lock list. We can see the files here if we click on this icon. And we can remove any one of them or reset all, effectively removing all files from the lock list. So that means if we ask for any changes in our code base, Bolt will not touch or edit those files. It will read it, but it will not update it. So that's a nice addition that is not available in the local Bolt installation. We also have here, if we double click on any portion of the code here, I guess it's only work by double clicking on it. Yes, you can double click and hold down shift to select other parts of the code. And you can see that this floating button here, Ask Bolt, is available. So we can click on it. And that portion of the selection we made is added to the chat context here. So that means we can ask Bolt anything about that. For example, what is React.fc? If we want to understand the code more deeply, we can do that. So now, even though I just asked what is React.fc, it did some changes which I didn't ask Bolt to do. So this kind of behavior is one of the things that is inherent with any Bolt installation or any Bolt version. It was made to update files, not to ask something, even though it's very clear here that I just want to ask something. Anyway, it says here that the React.fc is a TypeScript that stands for function component. However, it is discouraged already in the modern React TypeScript applications. So even though I just asked what it is, it deduced that it's an obsolete option, and it provided some alternatives, effectively updating these three files without using React.fc. All in all, it's a good thing that Bolt did that. It's a bit confusing at first because I just want to ask Bolt. So what happened if I simply double click on one word and ask Bolt? So it has the same effect. We don't want to continue with that here. But with local Bolt installation, if I double click on words or any code here, we don't have that. Let's go back to the official Bolt. Since we are basing unique features from the official version first, we also have this full screen mode here. If we go to preview and click on it, it will display the full screen, at least the maximized version of the preview. We can even enter more full screen mode by pressing F11. Yes, we can also do that here, full screen. This doesn't work. Anyway, that feature is not available here in the local Bolt version. Aside from that, you can see here that there's this nice information about how many tokens left in my account. We don't have that here in the local Bolt installation. And also, I'm not sure if you noticed, even during the initial prompt input box, there's this icon that will allow us to upload files. And the local Bolt installation doesn't have that. And here, if we take a look at these buttons, let me go out of full screen by pressing F11. And here we can see the download. We already saw that. But there's 3 more here. Open in StackBlitz, GitHub, and deploy. By the way, GitHub is not an official addition of Bolt. I have that installed by using my Chrome extension for GitHub integration. So this is for uploading to GitHub. So you can see my other video on how to use this. I will link it in the description and up there in this video right now to be able to use this functionality. In official Bolt.new site, there's no GitHub button. But in local Bolt installation, if we go to code, we have that similar function here. But it's not UI friendly as my own addition here. Alright, what else? There are a lot of improvements as well being made almost weekly with the official Bolt. One of them is the ability to handle larger prompts and several optimizations behind the scenes in order to reduce token consumption. So we can see here also that there's a deploy button. It will deploy our project to Netlify. And just recently, Bolt has been updated to work with Netlify even more by being able to deploy a project on the same URL. Unlike before, when you click on this, it will always deploy to a new URL. So now, if you link your Netlify account to Bolt, for example, let me just show you. Here, if you connect your Netlify account to Bolt, you will be able to deploy your application or your project to the same URL and even configured custom domain in your Netlify account. So that's a nice addition. Now let's go to the local Bolt installation because it also has some unique advantages not available with the official Bolt website. For example, the obvious one is the ability to select our own LLM. And we don't need to track the usage of our tokens here because we can see the usage information on the LLM provider that we are using. We can also see here several buttons which is not available in official Bolt version here. This one will hide the chat, maximizing the code panel, and this one will toggle the code preview panel and then focusing on the chat interface or panel. There's also additional button here like sync files, which allows us to upload any files to our Bolt project here. So I will not show it here because it will mess up our project. But you can use that, you can try to use that in your own project. There's also a toggle terminal, a very nice tool or option here that will maximize the code editor even more. And as mentioned, it also has this push to GitHub by default. So you don't need to install my Chrome extension to have this push to GitHub functionality. It works pretty much the same way. but in a different UI. Okay, so now let's try to improve this even more. So let's see how far we can go. So here we can see the official Bolt version of our Git project here. So it looks like the UI here is somehow cut off, but we can see the nice user interface here. Even though we use the same prompt, this is to be expected because of the nature of large language models or generative AI in general. Okay, so let me try to commit. Initial commit, for example. Commit. So this is the main branch. Initial commit. Let me commit another. For example, new feature. I will commit. So it added the new commit in our main branch here. Now I will create a new branch, like a dev branch. I will create it. Git branch dev. And then let me switch on that branch and then create a new commit. For example, new feature on dev. Okay, so we can see here the timeline. Now the dev branch is one commit ahead of the main branch. So now let's merge. Let's go to main, and so you see main only has until this commit, and let's merge dev branch. And now the new feature on dev has been merged to the main branch. And if we look at the dev and switch to the main, we can see that both of them now has the same level of commits, number of commits. So this is actually working nice. Whereas in our local Bolt here, we can say improve the UI, UX. Let's see what will happen. By the way, there's also these buttons here because you can edit the files directly yourselves. If you want to edit some small things or fine-tune anything or any changes you want, you can use this. However, you cannot create new files. I think only through this you can create new files. You have to create a new file outside of local Bolt and then sync it here to be able to create a new file. Unlike in the official Bolt website here, you can create your new file here. For example, new component. And then you can enter your code here. Now it's doing its best to update or improve the UI and the user experience. While waiting, let's review what we've covered so far. So we have completed the local Bolt installation and we are using it right now. We did a feature by feature comparison of both versions. We use a real-world example with our Git Simulator. And I have also highlighted unique capabilities of each version. So looks like it's done. Let's see. Let me toggle the terminal so it reloaded the page. Let me go to the preview, refresh. Let me rerun it again. It created several files here. Although it exists before, I think. We can see here that it says create, but it already exists before. So maybe it meant update. So those kind of small changes that's been added to the or updated with the official Bolt is not available in the local Bolt installation because, as I mentioned earlier, StackBlitz didn't update the open source version for a long time, for almost 2 months now, for more than a month. So it looks like it doesn't work. Anyway, of course, I can continue working with the local Bolt installation here to make this example working. I can also do the same with the official Bolt installation or Bolt version here. But that's it for our videos. Now you can choose the right Bolt version for your needs. You can use the Bolt.new official version for quick prototypes and seamless deployment via Netlify, or you can use the local installation for custom LLM integration and full control, knowing that the latest addition to the official version won't be readily available until an open source contribution or alternative has been made. But there's nothing preventing us to use both versions, right? Since we can upload our project in GitHub and we can sync the files using this functionality in local Bolt installation, I guess it's possible to use this at the same time. But it's up to you. In the future, I'm considering contributing to the local or the fork version or create a new fork with a specialized feature of my own. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on what features you'd find most useful. So drop a comment letting me know which version you prefer and why, what features you'd like to see added, and if you've successfully installed Bolt locally. I read every comment and try to help with any installation issues you might encounter. Of course, if you liked this video and you found it helpful, please consider subscribing and hit that like button so that you'll be notified of any future videos regarding AI development tools and tips. Thanks for watching. Happy coding!